institutions innovation councils. So currently we have more than 17,300 higher education institutions under institution innovation councils spread across all states and union territories. And the data says that the inventories or the IP filing, IP, the patents are coming from these education institutions because it covers almost all present institutions, including IITs, NITs, several universities, AICTE institutions, and also many non-technical institutions. And the three things actually going simultaneously. Actually, one thing is that research activities in our institutions. Second is your innovation activities increasing. Third thing is the startup output and the growth rate of all these three things indicates that they are have to converge somewhere to produce the quality outputs. That's why IT plays very important role and educational institutions are indispensable in this context. So taking the session forward, today we are going to listen about the IPR policy provisions made and the reforms made by central government of India and how these policy reforms actually helping in driving and changing the IP landscape in our education institutions and that currently we are witnessing. And with us, Professor Unnat Pandit, who is Control General of Patents, Designs and Trademarks, and during his last 4 years of tenure, who has made remarkable policy reforms and drastically we have reduced the price, the IP filing rate cost in our especially for our education institution, the startup category, and also brought so many conducive policy reforms that actually accelerated this IP landscape in our country. And without taking much time, I will welcome Professor Unnat Pandit for his kindly agreed to deliver a very impactful session with our sharing the journey of IPR policy reforms in our country and how it is aligned in keeping our adult stakeholders, startups, innovators, inventors, and education institutions as a center, and what is the vision of the central government of India, especially PPIE and the Ministry of Commerce to take the things forward. So over to Professor Unnat P.
Namaste, thank you very much. Partially, I think your voice got cracked just before 10 seconds. But I believe you wanted me to share my views on Indian IPR policy and provisions for startup and innovation. Friends, it is important that why this is required to discuss and debate it, and impact on this, and how you can leverage the benefit out of this. These three things are most important. Early days of the 21st century, and when we have completed 1/4 of this century, now the second quarter will have more than the first quarter's amplification. So are we ready for this? And most importantly, do the current students who are going to lead in next 2 decades, are they ready for the next second quarter of this century? And when policy matters, the policy needs to be made sure that it is effectively designed. It is effectively being utilized for the growth and prepare the human resource for the next second quarter challenges which the country and the entire society is going to face. If I may say that in higher education, there is a more emphasis on IT-led innovation in the national education policy, which was announced in 2020. And just before 5 years, if I further go that, to prepare the entire national IT framework from which the national education policy has taken the guidance, it is 5 years down the line, 2016. National National IPR policy. National P has been highlighted with 7 core objectives. Core objective of IP awareness, IP generation, IP protection, IP enforcement, IP commercialization, human capital building, and the administration. Now, what impact this policy reform has made? It is important to understand. By 2014-15, which is 1 year before the national IPR policy, so we were granting 6,500 patents. 10 years after this policy, say as in 2024, we have granted more than 1 lakh patents. So this is the impact of an effective IPR policy in the country. We were filing